questions here prepared by Zebub himself. So, I'm just going to be asking you a few things, and like you said, whenever you have to go, respect them. Okay, first question. There are many women who are very obsessed with you. Many King Diamond Merciful fans who love you. I know it's true because I know a few of myself. And how do you feel about this? And do you get approached by?
I wish I'd known earlier.
Actually, I have a friend who went to see your band last night, and she said that she pointed to her tattoo of your face on her arm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So there's one of them.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like, I would think, does it freak you out?
I wish I'd known. Would have been nice.
She's probably here tonight, so.
Right.
Are you flattered, or how do you feel about it?
Well, that's totally old fucking cool, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not, you don't expect that many women at the type of shows we have. Well, I don't know why, it's just kind of like feeling you have, you know.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, you do see quite a few actually.
Yes.
And it's a little bit surprising sometimes, you know. And it's like front row, like willing to get squashed. And, I mean, into it big time, you know. And you know, I can't say that's because they have the hearts for somebody, but I mean, like they're into the band.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, and that is surprising cool to see. And it's surprising to see how many really young people are coming to the shows. You know, it's a whole new generation that's coming in there, which is the past 2 years I've noticed that, you know, and they know all the songs, even those that were really before they ever had their first tape or something like that, you know. So that's really cool to see, you know.
And do you get approached by groupies a lot?
You know what? I'm never around. You know, that's the way I have.
You don't have time to track you down, I see.
The way I have to tour, right, is if the bus leaves at 8 in the morning, get to the next city at 2 or 3, I usually will go to bed and sleep till like maybe dinner comes. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to arrange all my shit, you know, all the makeup, shopping, and whatever else needs to be done, you know. It takes a long time, and usually I'm done like 5 minutes before or after the security comes to get me, you know, and then we go to the show. I come like this every night, you know, a few minutes before show time, and then we go and do it, and then I go straight to the hotel because I'm so drenched this way that I have to try and get that shit off as quick as possible, you know, and it gets late before it takes an hour and a half to get all that shit done and be showered and stuff. For the boys it's extremely important, and by that time when I'm done it's 3 or 4 in the morning, then I get another 3 or 4 hours sleep, you know, and then the bus leaves. That's usually how it goes every day. So to say bluntly, I touring, you know, except for that hour and a half on stage, hour and 45, and I love it so much that it makes up for all the bullshit, it makes up for all the bullshit. But I never see anybody, it's like, you know, might as well put me in prison, you know. It's almost what it feels like.
In your early days, you mentioned to the press that you cursed Manowar.
What?
What was the reason for that?
I've never mentioned that in the press. That must be one of his little things, man.
No, I've heard that Manowar, you put a spell of destruction on them.
I've heard that they thought I did that. Probably because they had very bad conscience about certain things. They did too much on Fate during a early tour in 83, you know. We played with them since, you know, in the same bill and actually right after each other and stuff. No problem with them at all.
No hard feelings?
No, never. I mean, like, I don't walk around holding grudges to people. Some people like that don't hate Kiss, this and that. No, I don't hate Kiss at all because of that little makeup suit and stuff like that. It's really, why waste good energy on walking around being mad at other people when it's a situation that's been solved and all this stuff? You know, there's no reason to it at all. At that time, it sucked a bit, you know, when it happened, but I mean, like, it was resolved so quick that it was, who cares, you know?
It was rumored that you would work with musicians, you would never work with musicians that were not Scandinavian, that you have Texans in your band.
That's another rumor I've never heard. I can give you a lot of rumors. I actually already am retired to become a fireman. So you know, that was on the internet not too long ago. Someone asked me, is it true you're retiring to become a fireman? I've died several times. You know, one time, Andy. So I was in the studio recording 9, and I was at one of the mornings before going to the studio, I get this call from Andy, man. Is it really you, man? Oh God, I heard you died in a car crash on the way. I had just bought a new pretty fast car, you know, and so it kind of like, you know, in his mind it was like, God damn, and he heard it from a very reliable source, a Swedish journalist, you know, that, but he had seen it somewhere else on the internet or wherever it was, you know, or, I mean, it was suddenly everywhere, you know, and that I
it's interesting how the second one person tells another person it gets even bigger.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I once was in a car crash, you can't really say.
To like being decapitated,
Once in a winter, you know, day after New Year's Eve or whatever, you know, a cab driver actually rear-ended me, but it was like so soft you couldn't even see a dent in the car.
And that's probably where they got fatal car crash.
That's years ago, you know, and the record label called me to ask me if I'd actually died. And this girl kept asking me, is it really you? Is it really you? I fucking hope so. You know, I hope it's me. If it's not me, I don't know.
There's a story from your first American tour where your bus became stuck in the swamp, and that when your band members came back, they came back to huge spiders attacking.
Well, see, it's kind of true, you know. Those guys were out checking out this. The boss had gone down on the axle in the back, you know. And the two guys that went out, when they came back in, they had a couple of big spiders sitting on their pants, you know. So they wiped them off and started closing the bus up. And when this guy came from the Raker company, you know, he told us that it was good we hadn't explored the area. It was the middle of the night, you know, so it's pitch dark. He said it was a major gator area, so yeah.
Stop, King. You have been cautioned. It is time.
This is part 2 of the interview, Iris, and this is King. Alright, and we're going to continue on with those above's magnificent questions. Alright, is it true that you warned your band members not to disrespect any women?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And is that in reference to girls going on the bus?
Yeah, does this apply to, like, I guess what you would call a groupie?
Anything. I mean, I don't want to see a guy that, for whatever reason, he's trying to get laid, he's not getting laid, he gets pissed off and throws a girl out of the bus or whatever, or treats her like shit. I don't want to see that crap, because, I mean, everybody that comes to the show and stuff like that are fans. I don't care what they do or what they are, what they look like, or what, you know, it doesn't fucking matter, you know. You just fucking treat them with total respect. It goes for everybody, you know, no matter what sex they are, whatever they are, you know.
So you really did, like, sit them down and tell them, you didn't just imply?
Oh yeah, yeah. Before we started this tour, I said yeah. I mean, we did some stupid shit in the early days, man. When things were just so nutty, you know. And it was like, you know, the way it is, you know, the way it often is, you know, where security will give out all these passes to girls, you know, merchandiser will do whatever, you know. What do you want tonight? You know? And so people are lined up outside the bus, you know, and people pick and choose, and he would come on board the bus, make sure people were busy. And if they were not busy, they just kicked out of the bus. I mean, that was the way people did it back early days, you know. Completely disrespectful, completely idiotic, you know. But that's what happened, you know. So no, I'm just making sure that people know that, you know, I don't want to hear any of that stuff later.
Okay. What are you personally attracted to?
Race cars.
That's not what I meant.
Okay. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know.
It's a tough question to answer on the spot. I know I can't. So.
It totally depends, you know. I mean, there's many different things, you know. It's like not just looks, you know. Definitely not. I mean, but I can't say, you know, if a situation presents itself, you can like, what?
Yeah.
Another thing I walk around thinking about.
Yeah. So it varies.
Oh yeah.
Okay. in Merciful Fate, it seemed like you were the only one to, I guess you would say, get decked out in costume and corpse paint. Theme conscious? Was this, did you want the other members to do this also, or did you want to be the one who stood out more?
There was never anybody wanting to do something. I already did that with the band I started singing in Black Rose, which was like from 78 to 1980. We had this naughty, crazy show, you know, going on with all these weird, but more like homemade effects, you know. Had this friend that worked at a butchery, you know, and when he would get me pig's heads that we would tie together, they had already been split, and I would split them with an axe, you know. We had little dolls already back then, you know, that we had opened up and put pig's blood and pig's guts in a little bag, you know, and I would stab this dog and pull the guts out and throw in the audience. And, you know, wheelchairs were already in back then, you know. I actually stole one from a hospital at one point, you know, to use it in the show. Yeah, not good. But you know, you had no money, you had to try and get by and get the show done, and I worked as a lab assistant, you know, and I found a few little powders in the arsenal that I could mix to do these bombs, you know, on stage. Just these canisters filled with this shit. I'm standing there with a torch, you know, and just sticking it in this thing, like, I was going slow, and then, I mean, it was, you know, but it looked real good, you know, and
it's a show.
So totally. I mean, and that's already from that time, and the makeup and stuff, you know. And that's I'm gonna write something about all those times, you know, because there is a CD coming out from Metal Blade, you know, of this old Black Rose, a live rehearsal from 1980, and it's killer quality. You can hear every single instrument, everything. But and in between talk and stuff like that is in there too, you know. And so,
did you ever actually consider, like, telling any of the members, you know, maybe you should dress up more?
No, because that would just take it so close to Kiss, you know. I mean, like, everybody dressed up, and let's find each our little thing, you know.
Yeah.
That was never considered. I was inspired by Alice Cooper, you know, in the early days, big time, you know, in trying to put on a show of some different kind, you know, and using the makeup as well as an extra, you know, way to get to the audience. And that was already up in Black Rose, and when I was invited into this band called Bratz, you know, where Hank was playing in, that had recorded an album, it was like they knew me totally what I was about, you know. They needed a front figure, they needed a lead singer, you know, because the bass player was singing, they didn't get too good reviews for his vocals.
Right.
So they knew all about that, you know, and they were totally into, like, oh man, this is great, people love it, you know, so why not? And it's just, so it was an automatic, nobody really thought about any of these things.
Right. Okay.
Even the band where I started playing, where I just played guitar in Brainstorm, which was before Black Rose. That was kind of where everybody had their little thing, but it was not a lot, just a little bit of makeup too. I was definitely the horror side of that thing too, but only playing guitar. But we didn't have a show or anything like that.
Okay.
It was like total garage, you know.
All right.
What's that for?
Don't you think it hurts the band when one of the members has short haircut, like a soap opera actor?
I don't think so many bands have that today, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, today
Especially
I don't think looks matters that much, you know.
Yeah. Even the fans, if you look out in the crowd.
Oh, totally. I mean, God,
more than half of them probably.
You can't judge anybody by that side anyway.
By
you know, these days, you know, it's like guy going to see my banker, you know, and he's just been to a Metallica show the day before. I'm like, oh really?
Yeah.
Just because he's asking me, oh, why are you going away? I need to talk to you about this and that. Well, I'm traveling a lot. What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, I play music, you know, like, oh, what? In a band. And then, you know, eventually you
And
get
then,
to it, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm playing a band. Oh, really? Okay. I went to saw Metallica last night, like, oh, really? He said there was tie, white shirt, and like, totally, you know.
You tell them about all the upside down.
Well, I don't tell them, they don't need to know. My neighbor is a priest, or actually was, I think he's in the middle of moving right now. But very, very cool guy, actually, but he is a priest and stuff, and he asked me, you know, what I was doing when I first time met him, you know, outside in the yard, you know. It's like, well, I play music, you know, and
Tell them in detail what you do.
well, he was asking what bands, and I of course tried to get it by real quick in the hope that he would just forget it. You know, I'm a black rose, you know, and it's like, and then like a couple of months later when I was going on tour, are you going out with Merciful Fate this time? I'm like, what?
Wow.
Mr. Brain.
He's an undercover fan. He's got like all the CDs.
Total Mr. Brain, you know. And then when going out with Merciful Fate, then John, our drummer, was staying with his girlfriend in my house to take care of him. And so he's doing the artwork and all this crap, you know. And the priest asked him, you know, so you're in King Diamond, right? Or it's Merciful Fate? And John's like, it's King Diamond. I have to go into the internet and check out you guys, man. It's like, and John's like, well, I don't think we have any sites, you know.
Man.
I know he's been in there, you know, and he's still cool about it. So I mean, that's the cool thing, you know. He grew up with Sabbath and Grand Funk and all this stuff anyway, same age as me, so I can't say anything bad about him. He's always been very cool and fair, you know. And the other neighbor, he's the guy like, hey, when are you playing? I want to go see it, you know. And they're both moving now, and you feel like, what do they do? But nobody knows who lives in the house on that street, you know. They never see anybody come in and out of that door. That's what I heard going to eat one day, you know. I had this waitress coming. Aren't you the one driving? And she mentioned my car, you know. Well, so you live in that house then? Oh, we've all wondered if anyone was living there at all, you know.
Yeah.
In that, you know, they have all the women, you know, with their children meeting once a week or whatever they do. You know? And I don't associate.
So you're the eligible bachelor who lives in that house.
No, see, they don't know who lives there. They have to ask because they see different people living there at little periods of time. But I'm gone, someone else is there taking care. And right now, there's a friend of our drummers, you know, from Louisiana, a guy called Brad, who's taking care of the house, you know. So always different people.
You must really be wondering.
Yeah, they're like, man, what is going on in there, man? You know. Busy owner killing them off, hiding them in the cellar if he had one, you know, but he doesn't.
When you composed Melissa, were you thinking of a particular woman?
I was thinking of a human skull that I've been given, you know. I don't know why, but I just had to name that skull Melissa. It was just one of these weird things where I name it must be Melissa, you know. And then you made up this story about that skull. It had a big blow right here on the forehead, you know, on the skull, where the inside had gone off a little bit and was grown back on. So obviously that person had been killed from that blow. And then that main part of the skull was stolen at a show in Holland somewhere.
Interesting coincidence. I don't know if you guys are going to believe me or not, but I actually had a cousin named Melissa who died in '94.
Wow.
So every time I hear that song, it reminds me. Yeah.
Wow,
She had
weird.
a very bad heart problem. She was only 14 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, she died at 14.
Wow.
So just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like reserved that as like her song.
Yeah.
Have you had a problem with human bones in America? Is that illegal to have human?
No, I hope not. I'd collapse if I didn't have them.
No, I mean the bones that you carry, your mic stand and.
No, never.
No, okay.
We had a problem with the goat skull in Argentina, I think it was. Getting to one of the planes, you know, it's
Can
like...
you just say it's plastic, or can you just lie and say it's a prop?
King doesn't lie.
That's right, that's one thing. But the other thing is that, I think you can tell, you know.
They
but
really
it's plastic
actually,
in there.
they actually inspect
Oh,
it.
it is.
They actually...
Oh, they've had us come down to it. Well, we don't fly that bone around, you know. It's always tucked in a fly case. That's why we do actually bring a plastic substitute, you know.
Okay.
We've done it to South America, and then last time we said, oh, to hell with it. Let's just bring the real one, you know. But no problem. But the stupid little goat skull, you know, we used to set fire to the horns with, you know. They freaked over that because obviously there's something with a bone or horn from any animals in Argentina you can't take out of the country. It's like banned or something like that, you know. So they had these experts come up and look at these horns. They're worth nothing, man. They're all burnt to... There's nothing left almost, you know.
Tell them, don't worry, it's not a goat from the Jurassic period or anything.
Not really, no. It's not like some, endangered species that they have down there either, you know. It's like, I'm sure they can find a goat somewhere else. So...
Is it true that you've adopted
Yes.
a...
Oh, No.
Next question.
No.
That's very well anticipated.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Strict anti-drug policy.
Oh yeah, I don't want to see
Yeah,
that.
for that the band should follow on tour.
I don't want to see that. None at all. Had to line people up on one of the Merciful Fate tours, actually, I think it was. No, it was a King Diamond tour. After a crew member had been doing some stuff at a backstage party or whatever, and it got rumored, you know, that, oh, they're partying with this and that, you know. And if I'm told, man, people be lined up against the wall, you know, and want to know who it is. And if they don't fucking stop it, they can go home right now. I mean, that's jeopardizing the whole tour. I don't want anyone jeopardizing my
especially if they
tour.
do that before the show and then they go on stage like
Before, no. Well, you know, the whole matter is that once I've seen people be on it, you know, and some people kicked out of the band a while back, you know, because of it, they just couldn't perform. They thought they were doing 150% and they were doing 80, and that's not enough. And furthermore, you know, you get on there. I was called up by a police officer that's one of my friends in San Antonio, you know. He'd seen on the internet that this thing was on there, and he calls me in the middle of the night, man. I was woken up there, and when I got on the bus that next morning, man, I was about to explode, you know. So I came in there and I pretty much dragged everybody out of that bunk, you know, who was still sleeping, and said, "Get up in the front lounge now." And then I said, "Don't fucking ever let that happen again. Do you have any idea what's going on?" There could be other police officers sitting out there seeing that this is a different side of it, you know. Seeing this stuff and where are they tomorrow? Oh, Albany, okay. Have people ready when they arrive at the hotel and search the bus, you know, and they take the bus away and pound it and blah, and you know, you lose 3-4 gigs. That's the end of the tour. Bye bye, you know. I mean, I don't ever do that to me, you know. And I told the rest of the guys that I don't care who does it, who, you know, it doesn't matter a specific name, you know, but I mean, the one that does it, I will kill him personally, and anyone who sees anyone doing it and they don't come to me and tell me, if they don't tell me, I'll kill them too. So now there are no squealers here, you know. You have to tell me no matter what if you see it.
Definitely.
That's ridiculous, I think, you know. I mean, anybody can do whatever they want with their lives, you know, but I don't want to see it, man. I just don't.
Just, you know, just have them wait till the tour is done to do that.
Do their private whatever, you know, as long as it doesn't impair their, you know, abilities and stuff like that. It's not my life, you know. I don't have to live that life. I have no right living the life, you know. But when it concerns my business and my life, you know, then I have a big say for sure.
Have you ever intentionally put yourself in an altered state of consciousness?
What do you mean by that? Like
meditation, staring into.
Well, once, yeah, with a crystal ball, yeah, that was weird, you know. But I, of course, did it wrong, you know, because I lit a candle instead of I should have had normal outdoor light come in, you know, because I couldn't see colors. But it was like I set an alarm clock for like 45 minutes, you know, and I mean, it felt like I had been a little off in 5 minutes, or for 5 minutes, you know. And when the alarm clock went off, I was like, no way, man, I can't believe this. It was a very weird, nice, relaxing feeling afterwards. But I couldn't see this ball. All of a sudden, everything was just black. You know? Supposedly, it was supposed to be blue, and then maybe things would appear in that background. You know. But that's it regarding like trying to do something specific like that. You know, where you feel like, wow, I was completely out of it.
Well, that might be tied in with the
That's
fact
enough.
that...
That's enough. I just need one.
Are those Danish cigarettes?
Yeah, you want one?
No,
You
thank you.
smoke it?
No, I don't smoke.
Come on, this is a good chance to start. Is that not you smoke?
No thanks.
Teach her how to smoke.
No, I
Okay. So that breaks the myth that smoking ruins your voice.
I don't know. Depends on whether you like the way I sing or not.
Now, Iris, what were you going to say before King rudely cut you off?
Oh, was that rude?
No, okay.
I have no. That's Danish manners. No.
Throughout your career, you've been describing in articles paranormal experiences you've had, and experiences in which objects were floating in the air. Was any of that true, or were they just events in your
All
your
lies.
lyrics?
All lies.
Well, I believe the question is more: did the journalists have license with your lyrics? Were you describing lyrics of objects floating, and a journalist then misquoted you as saying that?
No, I've seen all that shit for sure. My place in Copenhagen was big time haunted, big time. Seriously, oh yeah, and not just me in there, other people there too. It's not me just sitting there. Wow, look at that. Whenever something happened, I would always be like, trying to search for any kind of logical explanation for it, But I mean, how do you explain like 3 people seeing a glass floating up in thin air, full of beer, but first beer. I mean, nobody was drunk, That's the classic thing I've told so many times about, the waiting for the first Merciful Fate demo to be heard by all of us. We were, my brother and Kim Ross, the drummer, and myself were sitting around my coffee table, waiting for the other guys to arrive. And then before they arrived, my brother's glass suddenly rose up in the air about this high, and came back down here, and we were just like.
All right. No, nobody was on any
no
substances.
No.
You just saw this.
All 3. And then it's like, first beer had been open, we were about to get drunk, but had not gotten very far at all, and still waiting for some of the other guys, and we were actually discussing whether we should wait for them or just pop it in and listen to it, because we had just picked it up, at the studio.
Right.
And then this thing happened. It was like, it was not scary, it was not this or that, it was just like, we didn't say a word for the first couple of minutes, and then finally I'm like...
pretend not to see it, or where it was
there was
just...
no way to pretend. I mean, if you pretended like... it would be completely... Everybody would laugh at you like, you didn't see that? So nothing, Nothing. So you can't...
That's like what I would have done.
Yeah, I don't know, there was no way. Everybody was just like... But not scared or anything like that. It was just like, wow. And then I said, you saw it too, I know you saw it. And they both didn't. And we didn't mention it until a couple of days later we talked about it, And that's what got me going. That was the first thing I saw that got me going and go and borrow some books about the occult and read up on all that, which didn't give me a whole lot actually. It gives you a lot of what do you say, background knowledge for what people thought in the early days about a lot of things, but not a lot that you can really use yourself, because it was all written from one specific viewpoint. Those books that I got a hold of from a Christian viewpoint,
Right.
How they described everything. So, but I mean, it's very interesting stuff, But I saw many different things out there, man. I mean, how to explain little fingerprints of a little child's hand way up on a mirror in a big closet, I mean, I didn't have kids. I mean, how do I get little fingerprints up way high? But things would move around, man. People have been touched by things. A couple of the guys from Metallica, I don't know if they still remember it, I'm pretty sure they do, Lars and James. When they recorded either Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning, they were rehearsing in our rehearsal room, and the studio was right next door to the rehearsal room, so they used a little bit of our equipment too, And they came by one night, and Timmy was there, the bass player, and he had an American girlfriend over to visit, And he was sitting with her in my living room, and Lars and James and I was in my bedroom, we were playing a football game to leave them alone for a little while, We really... And I heard this big bang from the living room, It seemed like Timmy had tried to get up, imagine like a coffee table full of empty bottles, just turning all bottles over.
Scenery.
And I'm opening the door like, what the hell are you doing, man? And he's just sitting over on the couch with his going, what's going on? And I saw my altar that was over here, the opposite corner in that living room. Everything from the altar spread out over the floor completely. I'm like, okay, they're here again. Take it easy, no problem. Just pick it up again, I mean, lots of things have happened up there. I tell you so many stories up there. And it's not just there. I mean, things happen at my brother's place too, and on the road sometimes. Studios certainly happen as well.
You mentioned books and Christianity. Was there anything in the Satanic Bible that you did not agree with?
I can't say a specific thing right now. There might have been a few things, where you feel a little different, but absolutely in general, you know, I mean, like 98% of it is the way I already lived my life when I saw that and read it, you know. It was kind of like always being open-minded, no matter what.
Right.
I always am, you know. And so having read all these occult books, you know, from a Christian viewpoint, it was like, wow, man, those sick mothers there, you know, doing whatever they supposedly did, you know. And then you suddenly see that in the shop one day, and I'm like, well, I guess it's pretty good to read the thing, you know. If that is the thing, I don't know what it is, you know. So I read it and saw it was just life philosophy, not even a religion at all, you know. So it's like, okay. So this is it's kind of nice to see. I mean, black and white, some of your own thoughts, you know. I'll show you a letter afterwards, you know, that I always carry with me from Anton LaVey, you know, which is really a cool thing, you know, of having had the chance to meet him, you know, and see what he was like, you know, and explain in my own words what I felt Satanism was all about, you know, before he ever started saying something to me. So I didn't want to be this little puppet said, yeah, that's right, that's what I think too, you know. I wanted to just, whether he felt I was right or wrong, to give him my impression of what it is, you know.
What do you think was his impression of you, do you think?
Well, you can see that in the letter, I'm pretty sure.
You got to meet your favorite grimoire girl, Natalia. How was that? How did that go?
It's fine. Very nice girl, you know. She brought her boyfriend, I guess, you know, and they were both really cool people, you know. I mean, they came to the show in Toronto. I don't know, I think they'd driven for a couple of hours, you know, and supposed to do an interview, but I don't think there was a tape recorder present or something. So,
And she was supposed to take lingerie photos with you too, and somehow that didn't happen.
No.
And she's Polish.
What does that mean?
Well,
Hey.
it's funny that she's Polish and she goes to interview you and she does not have a tape recorder. I'll just leave it at that.
Now, we haven't had some good times in Poland.
No, I'm not.
Really?
I'm sorry. That might have made it seem that I trapped you into insulting Natalia. That's not what I meant. It's just funny.
Oh yes, that's exactly what you tried to do, but you did not succeed.
Regardless, Talia really enjoyed your company. She was quite taken.
Well, I mean, like, they're totally cool people. It was fun sitting and talking. We talked before the show and after the show, you know, when I had showered and all this shit, you know, late in the night, you know, and then they had to drive back home, you know. And then they were maybe going to try and make it up to Montreal because we'd have a full production. Like yesterday when we played, we couldn't fit our stuff on stage, right, you know, so we only had very little on stage yesterday in Jersey, you know, and the day after, tomorrow, will be Philadelphia, and we should have pretty much everything up, maybe even do the coffin coronation, you know, which has not been too successful this year. We had troubles with that coffin, you know, but anyway. Yeah, so they were supposed to go up to Montreal, where we also had the full show and a lot of people. It was a killer show up there. But I don't think they ever made it. You know, they didn't make it.
They did not make it.
No.
Because one of them is Polish. I'm kidding. She knows I'm like that funny in more ways than one. But go ahead.
I've never seen you behave like that before.
Someone from Candlemass, Messiah Marcolin.
Yeah, Messiah Marcolin.
Yeah, told Zebub that on your album The Eye there's no drummer, and that it's all a drum machine. And a drummer named Chris Hawkins insisted that the drumming on that album does not match Snowy's show at all. What was the real situation?
No. Well, see, a lot of people have asked that question through times, and I'm wondering what he would know about it since he was not even part of it. But he probably has talked to Snowy and stuff like. He was often like that sometimes, but he was playing on electronic drum pads.
Okay.
With high drum pads, you know, and that's what he played on, and that's why you hear a very consistent sound through it. But he played the drum pads.
He was actually moving his arm.
Yeah.
Instead
I mean,
of just pressing some
if
buttons.
you forgot that part, you know, that he has an idea that he was pressing, then he needs to check up big time. I mean, if he's forgotten that, because you can ask Andy about that if he played on these electronic pads or not. Everybody knows that, you know. So. But yeah, I heard that's lots of rumors. Like yesterday, you started off very well with them.
bunch of and I'm just like,
Lots
is it
and
true?
lots
when you hear that little question line, is it true that?
Or there's a
here's
rumor
another
that.
one. Yeah.
There's a story that.
Exactly.
Those are the prefixes.
Someone told me.
I heard.
Yeah, no, that's not correct, but it's not genuine like drums like this, you know, these big fat drums.
Right.
Electronic drum kit, yeah.
Okay. Final question. Did you find Snowy Shaw to be a tad bit feminine?
I never thought of it that way. I mean, I have nothing but good stuff to say about Snow. You know, I mean, he's always been a great guy. You know, and he's a very skillful drummer. And the only thing that I had a little trouble with was once in the studio, and he's probably mentioned that. I've seen it in some interviews too. You know, that he felt like he was being held back and all this stuff. You know, but when you hear a line come out of somebody's mouth that for the first time in the studio seemed to be getting enough time to do whatever they are able to do, you know.
Right.
And he says, "Oh, this is so great! Now I'm gonna do everything I ever learned." I'm like, "Hey, this is not a Snowy Shaw solo album here,
Right.
you know."
Right. Yeah. This is.
We're doing music that everybody needs to understand and play, you know. So you like, there was a lot of things where, you know, there were roles, and I'm not saying bad roles, killer roles, but they were just going over so big parts of the songs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and every time there would be a little change in structure of the song, you know, going from a verse to a chorus, there had to be this gigantic role. I mean, it's like, I can't understand my own songs anymore. You know, we gotta fucking settle down and get, you know, the flow into it, man. There's tons of space now in music to show your abilities, you know, and he has the abilities. I mean, and this is not saying a bad thing about him either. I'm not trying to put him down anyway, but it's like, you know, there are different ways of looking at your own music and what you want to get out of it, you know, even today, you know, and it's the same thing with Merciful Fate, you know, sometimes Bjarne is the best drummer I've ever played with, I'd say, you know. I mean, unreal. Mm-hmm. And the communication in the studio, you know, is like, I know what I want out of a certain riff, and I know what the vocals are going to be like afterwards, you know, once they're put on. They're not there when he does his drums. And I will like throw in little guidelines or a suggestion, or could you try a longer roll there, or let me hear more toms, you know, we need more kicks in this part, I think, you know, that's what it's missing. Mm-hmm. Okay, what about this? And he's trying this and that, and something else, or maybe, I don't know, try and turn the rhythm around, you know, so you have the snare first or whatever, like, you know. Suddenly he's like, oh, that was so awesome. You remember when you did? Or listen to the tape of the tape, you know, and then do it right, you know. And, but so easy, you know. Or is it a roll like more like let me try a couple here, and he's like, oh, that one was right. That's it, you know. That's the kind of thing you want, you know.
Yeah,
so you get the right feel out of the riffs,
right,
that you know should be there. I mean, it's hard for anyone but me, I'd say, you know, to get the full picture before it's there, you know. I mean, how are they gonna know what I'm thinking about with vocals and stuff like that, you know, like, it's gonna be a quiet piece, no, trust me, just play it like that, you know, it's like, you know, sometimes, and it's like, just wait till you hear it afterwards. I know exactly what needs to come out of this piece, you know.
So just trust me on this one.
You have to, you know, because like, how can John Ebert, you know, say no, it needs to be these drums for this verse. I'm like, oh yes, it is. That'll make it real happening, you know.
Okay.
So
I guess
that was the situation with Snowy, you know. It's like he didn't have that chance, but he maybe didn't understand at that time, you know, that I did have that overview over what's going on, you know. So all the albums I've ever done, I've been available. Not the very early Merciful Fate ones, you know, but otherwise, being in the studio all the time, you know, knowing every little bling, boing, bing that goes on tape, you know, knowing what tracks it's on, so I can be part of mixing and then mastering or whatever, you know, the whole process. So I want that. I have to know all that stuff, you know. So
I guess he just threw in that feminine remark to try to trap
Oh,
you
the-
into.
See how good I am.
Trap you into.
See how good she doesn't just give up, you know. It's like here I am with this great explanation about a ton of things, and I'm not even answering your question, right? Thinking we're ready for the next question. Well, what about that femininity?
I mean, didn't he wear a leotard one time?
What is that?
It's like a.
A
Explain, Iris.
leotard is like a bodysuit, like kind of like a bathing suit looking.
For a woman.
Yeah.
That I've never seen. That might have turned me on if you did. No, I've never seen that. He used to paint a little eye around his eyes here, you know. But I guess I should be the last one to know about that.
Okay.
But it was like when you put a thin line on, it might look a little, you know. But you know, no, he was like totally into Indians. I know that, you know. He was all these Indian jewelry and this and that. You know, was fascinated by the Indians. So, but I don't know.
Because you've had.
Charlie knows he's got some of that femininity, you know.
Sure.
He knows it, man. I mean, like the way the hands sometimes, you know. Shut up. but that's only in a fun, cool way. Charlie is the fucking best, you know that, you know. So,
well, he is a girl
I don't remember
magnet.
Snowy having that thing there.
Well, that's the end of the questions.
I have one question.
Okay.
It should be brief and it's not embarrassing.
Yeah, he said that warning people avoided it. It shouldn't be embarrassing.
That's
How long
well,
did you
that's what you
were?
expect.
From what you know now of mixing music and stuff like that, were you ever tempted to go back and remix Don't Break the Oath and Melissa just to see what you could come up with?
No, because
Never.
you know, it's you could keep doing it for so long because I would never get satisfied.
Oh, I see.
Never ever get satisfied. If I did that, then I'd hear that and I'd be like, damn, maybe it should have been. So I try to, when it's done, leave it alone. Don't think anymore about it. Don't start. You know, don't keep analyzing. That's why I listen to it our own stuff so rarely that. Because that's the way I listen to it. When you know exactly how every little pinpoint thing was put on, you know, you sit and listen for those things and like, oh yeah, that's how we did that backwards reverb, and that's why we did this and that. Oh, that's that role he had some hard times with, you know, and oh, here comes these vocals that are like, ooh. You know, all this stuff is like, you know, you. That's how I hear our albums when I put one on, and it irritates me. I can't listen to it like listen to everybody else's albums. I can't, because it's all how it was all done, you know. And I've heard those songs, man, even before the album comes out. I probably heard them 1,000 times each. You know, from writing them, the same riffs over and over, writing, and oh, you keep going and going and going. Then that's done. Then you start hearing them when I do the lyrics over and over and over, man, so many
And you
times.
start playing them live.
The whole
over and
recording
over and over.
session, every song, I hear everybody's part being recorded over and over and over. It's just like, and then I have to go in and sing to a song. It's like, almost, you know. And then, you know, when that's done, then you start mixing it. You keep listening to like, is that, maybe it should be moved a little more up to that side. Or can you do one of these verses that go back in the head? Yeah, that's it, yeah. You know, it's all these little things like, you know, but you'll get really, a lot of the stuff we've done really, especially the new one too, you know, headphones, man, it'll give you a trip. All directions, you know. But that kind of stuff that's what I'm sitting there listening for, you know. I can't just be objective and sit there. Yeah, this rocks, you know. It's more, I get more of that feel actually when you're playing live. That's where I get more the feel of the actual songs, you know, when you're playing, you're into them, you're like, yeah, you know exactly where these things are.
How appropriate. Well, thank you, King.
All right, man.